the very beginning. When and where were you born?
I was born in Marlin, Texas, in February 13th, 1936.
Okay. Who were your parents?
Woodrow and Lois Schober.
So, are you a junior?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
His name is Woodrow Antone. I'm Woodrow Allen Schober.
Okay. Well, I've never known Woodrow. I've always heard Woody.
Yeah, but I've gone by Woody over the years.
Okay.
Grew up with Woody, basically.
Okay. What were your parents like? What
They
did
were
they
both, well, they were both very, very wonderful. I felt like as I grew up with them. My father went on to become a policeman in Waco, Texas, and we moved there. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom. The time period. My brother came along also later on, about 7 years, and Dean was his name, Dean Schobers. There were 2 children in the family. One did pass away at birth, but we have 3 actually.
Okay. What does your brother do for a living?
Right now he's retired.
Okay.
He was in insurance over the years though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're coming to the part of music. Who were you introduced to music by?
I would say my father and mother. My mother would sing me songs, and the first song she ever taught me was "God Bless America," and she had me sing that different places. And I was a capable little singer for that. How old I was? Probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I remember one year at the school they'd have students come down and lead the Star Spangled Banner or sing it, or whatever, and they had me sing it. So my first performance, I guess, for people, you might say, was a school, singing "God Bless America." And then my dad, being a policeman, he worked at some of the clubs, you might say, around, and I would go and sit behind the stage and watch the artists perform. I got to see some well-known singers and dancers and bands that time period. So during that time period, he introduced me to band. He liked music a lot too.
Did he play an instrument?
I think he did in a band years ago. It was a clarinet, I believe, what he said. Yeah.
Okay. Was your mom, was she a musical teacher or anything like that?
No, she wasn't a teacher at all. Didn't have an education like that at all.
She sang in the choir, didn't
She sang in the choir, I believe.
At church.
So, maybe so at church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Our family was Christians, and we did sing and go to church, and that's where I learned a lot about music. It was in church and singing.
Yeah, let's see. So, now what made you decide to go into the field of music as a living?
As a living, well, that came later. Earlier in my time period, in the 6th grade, Mom and Dad took me to a music teacher. She seemed like she was around 60 years old, but she taught me trumpet, cornet, and I learned that to play cornet in junior high band. And so I began playing in the band and enjoyed it, and went on through high school with the band, being in the band program. And then I did sing some all along the way too, in choir in junior high.
Do you play piano?
I did take some lessons at the time period, but did not go on with it. I did not practice it, didn't pursue that. Stayed mainly in performing in band, that kind of thing. Yeah.
How about you, Mrs. Schober? Did you take any music lessons or anything like that?
I come from a very musical family. My daddy's side of the family, they all either sing or play an instrument or play the piano. They're all involved in music. Some of them play several instruments. So I grew up with that, and I was in the band through school.
What did you play?
And I played the flute. And I wanted to go on and become a band director. So that's what I did when I went to college. That was what I wanted to do, was to be a band director.
So you went to North Texas State and
Right.
and you're a music major while you were there?
Yes, yes.
Now later on you became a school teacher.
Well, I changed my major, put music as my minor and elementary as my major.
Okay. Now you went to, Mr. Schober, you went to Tarleton State University
Yeah.
in Stephenville.
Now, you asked a question a while ago, why did I go into music?
Yes.
Back up to that real quick.
Okay.
I used to, as I said, go to the movies, and one of the movies then that time period was Stars and Stripes Forever. And Clifton Webb, you mentioned that, was in the star of that. He played Sousa, John Philip Sousa. And I bought that recording. I remember going home and putting it on at a record player of some sort, and directing in my room. In my room, I would have like, this section would be the clarinet section, maybe the bed. And over here would be a chair, be the trumpets, and over here would be the percussion. And so as they played, I would direct and point and cue certain instruments, that were performing. And so I did that on all the marches that was on this recording. And of course, the Stars and Stripes Forever was just a great, wonderful song. And that's where I guess listened to it and thrilled me to watch it, see it, and then hear it, and then be a part of it by directing. And then in band at school, that helped. We didn't ever play it in junior high. We did play it in high school, though. The music wasn't very much. That's the reason, I guess, the influence of my band directors and playing it and seeing the movies of it caused me to go on for it. And that's the reason why I went in. Yes, in music now in college, I went to Tarleton State University. Well, then a college there. 2-year school. And that time period, I was going to major in business. I'd been in high school, I'd always sold shoes or sold things and clothing and worked in stores. And so I liked that also. So I decided to major in a field that would go into that field. So I did take part in college in that. But I found out I was not very well geared or more background-wise for accounting and math and all that. And that time period, the band director said, I understand you played in high school. I said, yes, I did. His name was Charles Vick. Won't you come and get a horn and come play in our stage band? We need a person to play trumpet. So I did go out and at a pawn shop, got a horn, and played in the band at Tarleton that first year. Then I decided the second year to change majors and go into music, because he was very much interested in my going ahead, if possible, into that field. So I started out in music in the second year. And then, as being a 2-year school, Mr. Vick took about 3 or 4 of us to North Texas State College then, and said, this is a great school for music. That's where I went to school, and you'd love it being there. And so I think all of us decided to major in music and go on with it at North Texas. And that's where I started in pursuing it in a full-time way.
And while you were at Tarleton, you were a cheerleader.
Yes, I was involved with that. I'd never been one before, but it seemed like be a lot of fun. And someone encouraged me to go ahead and try it, So I practiced on some small yells I could do maybe and tried out and made it. So I was a cheerleader there for 2 years, or they called us yell leaders then. And I had a lot of fun with that, and got to know a lot of the students and all that way.
So when you got to North Texas State, it was Mrs. Schober who was a cheerleader.
No.
You weren't? I thought you were
No.
a cheerleader. Okay.
I was never a cheerleader. I was a majorette in high school, but never a cheerleader.
Okay. Well, okay, you went to North Texas State, and then you got your music degree.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you involved in any groups there? Music
We got married the second year.
You were
we
in the
there.
jazz band.
Well, I did play, yes. I did play in the bands, of course, being a part of the
And
music
the jazz
major.
band.
And I played a part of the jazz band in North Texas, and part of the other bands studying music. And then when we got married the next year, and so I was working as a custodian at First Baptist Church. And so I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do, but I did take part in a lot of things, musically, you know. But we did. We were involved there in that, and went on through that time period of music. Both of us were going on to pursue music as majors, you know.
So you went to, your first job was at Wilmer and Hutchins,
Right.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wilmer Hutchins, right. That was the first band job that I had, and was there for 2 years.
the high school or junior
The high school, and worked with the junior high too some, but mainly high school for 2 years there at Wilmer Hutchins, right.
Was it rough then?
Not in Wilmer. The church, First Baptist Church Wilmer is where I directed music. And the town of Wilmer was, you know, very quiet. In fact,
Wilmer and Hutchins.
yeah, we're two towns.
Two
Yeah.
separate towns.
The school was right in between.
The school was in between, and so was the church. First Baptist now was in Wilmer.
Well, Wilmer, Hutchins probably had a first.
They had one also, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
they probably had one too.
Hutchins was a little bit larger town.
Yeah, it was more near Dallas. You might say that it was that Mary South Dallas may have had some rough things going on, but I didn't have any
Okay.
knowledge of that.
Well, good. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, Wilmer was just a little small town.
we were a segregated school, which is unusual, you know.
Well, not at that time.
It
It
was-
wasn't unusual.
Well, segregation was part of our country, you might say. And so but they had a black school here in Wilmer Hutchins and the white school. And so we were in between, and they would all bus the kids from Wilmer and from Hutchins to the center, you might say. And we had a school there.
It wasn't integrated at that time.
No, it wasn't integrated, it was segregated, right.
Well, what came after Wilmer Hutchins?
Well, Wilmer Hutchins, I was there 2 years, and during that time period, I worked with Brooke May's music company somewhat, and so then they said, you want to come and work for us, you know. You'd be we felt like a good salesman with us. So anyway, I decided to pursue that and left Wilmer Hutchins and worked as a road man, they called it, on the north part of Dallas County, all the way to the country, out to the state line.
Okay.
And did it there, and worked on the road and got a chance to visit and see a lot of good bands and learn a lot about teaching. So it was a very good, fruitful thing for me to be a part of the job. And we then provided Carol, she had not finished her degree, a chance to go on and get her degree at North Texas, finish up. So we moved up to Denton, and I had my job with Brooke Mays on the road, but still would come back to Denton each night, and we lived there, and Carol went to school. And
And we had 2 kids,
we had 2 kids too, right? Yeah.
What are their names?
David and Lynn.
Okay. David was born in 50.
8 and Lynn 60.
And then after that, what happened?
Well, and when I was doing that job, I would visit McKinney, and McKinney had a program, and they were losing their band director. So they asked me to come in and work for 6 weeks and help them prepare for a concert. They had a concert coming up, and the band director was already gone. So I would go there. The Brooke Mays allowed me to go there each day and work with the band on their program. And so I did that, and then they said, well, would you like to come and be a full-time teacher here next year? I said, well, I guess we might think about it. So Carol and I talked about it, prayed about it, and we did. And we decided to take that job. So I resigned from Brooke Mays and took the job at McKinney. And we were there for 6 years.
6 years.
Did
Okay.
band, and then along the way I did choir. Along the way I've always been able to do church choirs part-time. You seem like wherever I went, like Wilmer, they lost their choir director. They said, well, you're a band teacher, could you do choir too? And so I said, well, I'll try. So I did. I took the choir there, First Baptist Wilmer, and taught that. And then went to Denton and did not have a full-time full job, but I did have some part-time jobs with church choir. So that's always been a part of my life, my education.
I always wondered how that worked because
Yeah.
Will James, who was a band director, and then later on he's a choir director, you know,
Yeah.
at church.
Right.
And I asked him about that. I go, well, how is it that you being a band director, you switch over to being a choir director? He goes, well, you know, it's all tied in, all tied in together.
That's
you know?
true.
So, but you and him are the first people I've known to do that.
Well, Will is the first band director I'd ever had to join with my choir and his choir. He had a part-time choir show also. And we did a Christmas cantata, and we did an Easter cantata one time while he was teaching full-time at band at MacArthur. And I was director of fine arts at Irving. So we worked together in the church choir.
So after McKinney, where did you go?
After McKinney, we came here because I had a good friend, you know, Danny Hart, who was a choir director, and we kept up after college. We were both in college together in North Texas. And so he called me one day and said, Woody, there's a job opening coming up in Irving, Nimitz High School. Won't you come down and apply for it? And so we talked with Carol, and we decided we'd look into it. And I did come down and talk to Mr. Chandler. He was the principal going in, and he hired me. So that 68, we moved to here to Irving, and been here, you know, these years.
And I got a job here too.
Yeah, she got a job doing
school?
music.
Music. I taught music at Barton.
Barton, right.
Okay, so you're the piano teacher, not the piano
No,
teacher, the music,
elementary music
the
teacher.
music director.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Did you
Taught
have to,
all the classes.
Did you have to go to school? You know, from school to school when you were doing that?
No, I did in McKinney. I was the first music, elementary music teacher they had, and I had to go to all the schools. So it
She
was
was the
like
only
one
one.
was on Monday, one
Yeah.
or one was in the morning, one was in the afternoon.
So you play piano?
I do.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Like I said, my dad's family, everybody did everything.
How come you're not playing piano?
And she's played at churches.
Okay.
That
I have
Okay.
before.
we worked together.
That just wasn't my strong
Yeah.
suit, so I just as soon sing
Yeah.
as yeah.
Let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. When I was on the computer looking for information on you, Mr. Schober, I ran across a note from the Sixth Floor Museum. They have their own site that said that you were in a movie about Lee Harvey Oswald. And this was right after the assassination.
Yes, it was. Very close.
And the title of it was The Trial of Lee Harvey Oswald.
That's correct.
Okay, and you worked as an extra for a whole day.
Yes, Jerry Phillips was the drama teacher in McKinney, and we worked together a lot on different things, on musicals and whatever. He was a very talented drama man. He won state one year with his play. Anyway, he was a very gifted man. He acted. He was an all-state actor himself in high school, but Jerry just had connections with people all around. He had been in the movie Out at the Alamo, and he'd been in other movies that were made in Texas around here. He said, "What is going to be a movie made of the Lee Harvey Oswald? It's a trial, mock trial. They're going to have people needed for the actual trial in the scene. And would you like to become a part of the scene? You know, with me, I'm going to go down to Dallas and be in the movie that day. They just needed extras primarily to sit in the crowd scene and so on." And I said, that'd be fun, so I did. We left one early Saturday morning and drove to Dallas and went somewhere, some studio somewhere downtown in Dallas. And they put us into costumes and put us into the place where we're going to be. Wouldn't have any lines or anything, and we just strictly just sitting there, standing there. And so we were in a part of it, and so it was kind of a unique thing.
I found that photo. Was that Mr. Schober? Did you see it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I couldn't really tell.
I had hair, of course, a lot of hair.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
The glasses were gone
Right,
too.
right, that's right. But it was fun. They You know, we had a lot of people we met, you know, that do this all the time. They're just to do scenes and actors, plays that come through town. But it was exciting, but never did get to see the actual movie. They said, well, they wasn't picked up by any big company or producer to, you know, let it, yeah, except in Europe. They did make I think a movie over there also, or either he's the same one. It was fun watching the director, though, work with us and work with the actors that, you know, who were doing their parts of the actual play, of the actual movie.
When you got to Irving, your first job was where? Nimitz?
Nimitz Choir, right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chandler was the principal, and I was the director. No, we had 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, 9. And the next year, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh.
So those 2 years I was there, that's what I was part of. So I actually had a junior high choir and a high school choir, you might say. The second year. First year I had a triple C, they called it triple C junior high, which was 7, 8, and 9. And anyway, that was a wonderful choir. This choir, the students who went to Nimitz that time period, many did not want to go there because their brothers and sisters went to Irving High or MacArthur. Those are the two primary schools, so it was kind of a challenge for the kids to move over to somewhere new like that. And school wasn't even all totally built, you know, most of it was there. But I had a house in back. It was a house, actually, a wooden house.
Yeah.
It was big, a large portable house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was able to be a part of that. That was my choir room. And so I would teach at Bowie a couple of periods and go over to Nimitz and teach in the afternoon. Jim Jackson was the band director, and we had a great little band too. So he'd have band in the morning in that house from 7 to 12, and I'd come in at 12 and rearrange everything, put risers up, and have choir in the afternoons throughout the rest of the day. But we did, the choir did real well. They worked hard, and we made first divisions and at the McKinney Choir Festival, and then we had the UIL. They made first divisions there also. So it was a good choir, a very good choir. They wanted to compete and be as good as Jim Moore's choir at Irving High and Danny Hart's choir at MacArthur.
Oh.
That was hard to do.
That's hard to do with the ninth graders. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway,
They had some pretty big names.
oh, they were wonderful. They were wonderful choirs, yes.
According to Lynn, you wrote the alma mater to Nimitz High
Well,
School.
Carol helped out too.
Oh, okay.
That's right, both of us did.
Did you do music or the lyrics?
We
Both.
did the lyrics actually, and the music, yeah. The music actually came from the Navy hymn that had been
Oh, that's
I
right.
found in a songbook in elementary. And you never really hear it very much.
Because Nimitz is the Navy school.
In Navy school, right. It's
Yeah.
just ironic that this worked out exactly with it, and so the song fit pretty well, the words and music, you know.
Well, now, does your name appear on it too?
I've never seen either one of our names.
Okay.
I don't know that, but we wrote the fight song. We wrote the words for that, and Jim Jackson wrote the melody line for it, the music for the band.
Here, this brings up another question. Did you ever write any music to publish or sell?
Not to publish or sell. No, I've written some things just for the band. I remember years ago, they were just written, you know, for them, but for my band. But I didn't actually. I think I went and talked to somebody one time with my piece I had. The guy said, "That's nice." But I never did pursue it, and so I didn't write that much. No,
You do a lot of arranging.
arranging maybe some of that, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
But we did choir there. That was my first step, you might say, from leaving band and coming into choir was at Nimitz. Otherwise, I've been doing both of them, you know.
So you did that for 2 years.
2 years.
Now, what happened there for that?
Well, the supervisor of music left, and they were trying to find someone else. Wonderful director of fine arts.
Well, and he was one of the few that had a band and choir background both.
Oh,
The superintendent wanted to try to find somebody that had both, and had taught elementary some and taught secondary some, you know.
Dr. Townley was
And,
fairly new in Irving at that time.
He went through all the files and he interviewed, and I guess the people in Irving interviewed too. I don't know who all interviewed for the job. I didn't interview for it, to tell you the truth. And
His dad wanted him to.
Yeah, I said, Dad, I've just been here 2 years. There are people here in Irving, you know, Jim Moore and these band directors have been here. There are a lot more.
I was wondering how that happened.
Yeah, right. So
They
it's
had
ironic.
more years here.
So one time in the summertime, I was down the lake with my kids on a sailboat, and I got back somewhere home. Carol said, call
So
up.
Dr. Townley wants to talk to you.
Yeah. I thought, what have I done already? And so, yeah, and Tom Shannon, the principal, said, Woody, come with Woodrow. Woodrow, have you shaved this summer? I said, well, yeah, why? Well, Dr. Townley wants to see you about 2 o'clock.
Wow.
And so I said, okay. Went down there and we talked to me and said, I need to see you've had band and choir in elementary and middle school. Yes. Okay. Can you write? I said, can I write? Well, I guess I can, you know. All right. Got a strange question, you know. And about all he asked me.
Not write music.
You know, just write.
Write.
Can you write?
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it was kind of strange. So I said, yes. Okay, then I'd like you to be the director of the program, Fine Arts. A supervisor, he called me, or whatever it was, director of Fine Arts. Anyway, I said, okay, well, we'll try you out for a year, see how this works out. If not, we'll find you a job somewhere else. So that's how it happened. Excuse me. I should cut this thing off. 1 second here. 40 or 50, and we began a boys' choir. And this boys' choir, I'd go out and try to find boys' choir material and music, you know, around. There was written for boys' choirs, and I found I liked it a lot. The sound of the boys'
It was
choir.
a great choir.
Angelic
Really.
sound. It's beautiful, beautiful. And so we began singing here in Irving, and then we would later on, TMEA, our state music organization, would invite us down to perform in Austin, San Antonio, for their places. And then I had a good accompanist who was a young man I had also in boys' choir years ago that became my accompanist, Mike King, and he also was very talented and knowledge of places to go with choirs and tour. And began touring, Tom, and we toured then over the years all over the United States, really.
Went to
you might say.
California, went to Florida, went to Colorado, went to New York.
Who paid for all this?
Yeah.
Well, they
Irving
did.
School District?
No, the
No,
school did. No,
boys paid for it.
boys paid for it, right?
Their
But
own.
it was
Their
a.
own.
How did they raise money
amazing-
for it?
Well, they just parents wanted to bring it up. I guess they.
I don't
could do it.
think, we didn't do any fundraisers.
Oh wait, yes, we did do something. I think I can't remember what it is now, but
Sell candy or?
might have done that.
Oh, we may have.
But we again, the choir was an enhancement. So many of these boys were in boys' choir and in girls' choir. Once the boys' choir began, the girls wanted to have one too. So we had a girls' choir, and they did the same thing. Did concerts themselves, you know, and we'd do joint.
One of the elementary music
Yeah.
teachers
Yeah.
took the role of the girls' choir.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So both of them, and then the students from there, many of them went on to junior high
Yeah.
and continued their music in band and choir and orchestra. So it the means of stepping stone for them going into that.
That kept you pretty busy, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But I enjoyed it. I did it about probably 25 years or so.
Yeah, he had boys' choir rehearsal weekly,
Yeah, I would go.
once a week.
I had, in fact, at one point, I had 2 choirs going. I had one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and that was after
I forgot
school.
about that.
Yeah,
Where did you meet?
we met different places. We met first of all at the
Plymouth
YMCA.
Park. Oh, yeah.
YMCA, and then from there, I was at Plymouth Park Baptist myself, going to church, and they allowed me to meet there. So I met the choir room there. Neil Davidson, the Davidson Their boys, all three of them sang in the boys' choir, and
My little
So
brother sang in
we-
the boys'
Oh,
choir.
he loved
Yeah.
the boys' choir.
so we did. And so Neil was very helpful to us with that, and so on. So the boys' choir was one of my, I guess
Favorites.
of all
It
of them.
was.
I loved all the choirs I directed,
Yeah.
but the boys were something, they were special. I still meet boys, and they have memories still of that fourth grade experience, fifth grade experience they had singing with us in the boys' choir.
There is an angelic sound with kids that age.
The English
Beautiful.
people.
And then they change, and then their voice changes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but you go to England, you'll hear a lot of boys' choirs over there in churches and places, yeah.
Did you wind up hiring? I got a list of names here.
Well, some of them are correct, yeah.
Did you hire, I went to school with this guy, his name Brian Bond.
Yeah,
Did you hire him?
I believe so.
Okay. How
Think
about,
so.
how about Jerry Rowe?
Yes,
How about Lucian Jalofka?
I remember him, yes.
Now, Mr. Davison,
He was before
No,
Woody.
that's before
me,
you,
Yeah.
okay. How about Larry Colvin?
I
Same
think
time.
Larry was already here.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Earl Haberkamp?
I think he was already here.
I
I've heard him
think
once
so.
again, though. He retired and he came back.
Yeah. Okay.
You're talking about people back in the very, very beginning time stages,
Yes,
yeah.
about 70s, something like that.
70s, right.
Yeah. Now, all these band and choir directors, do they have to report to you, or do they report to their principals?
Well, their principals is their main, you might say, person they go to first. And then I'm secondary. I did go in the hiring now over the years, the 30 years I was in fine arts. I did initiate the hiring and bring him into the principals and say, here's someone I think you might like to look at and see. So we did do a combination of, you might say, hiring people.
Okay.
They kind of had the final say,
Yeah,
didn't they?
principal being this.
Did you evaluate these people?
Yes, in some regards, but in band or choir orchestra, basically the principal had that responsibility. But we worked together jointly,
Now, how did you keep track of all the funds, the money, for the instruments, equipment, marching uniforms, choir outfits?
Yeah.
Did you hire a CPA?
No, big job, Ari. But I always usually had a good secretary to help me, it wasn't just me. And they would help me. We'd have an inventory, which I'd go around to all the schools every year, starting about last 2 weeks of May. And I'd say, I'll be at your school on a certain day, certain time. And they'd lay out all the band instruments all over the floor. It filled up the whole room. And I'd go around to every room, every one of the horns, look at them and see the serial number and check the serial numbers of these, okay? And that's a big job.
You gotta have a magnifying glass for
Yeah, I
that.
know, yeah. And so that was for the band instruments and the choir, and orchestra. Took quite a while. But you did do that to try to check on, make sure they're all there. Because sometimes the directors would swap instruments around. They'd go from one place to the other. I couldn't find this one, so, we'd have to go around and find, where's this clarinet? And then till you get that. Then you'd work on the budget, working on the needs for next year. I'd say, okay, turn me in, your request for next year and instruments and so on. And we'd just see what would be possible to acquire according to what they gave me with the districts, that you'll be able to have 50,000 or 20,000 or 10,000, whatever it might be. And you had to work that all out with them. And then to work with the directors and see what you had to cut, you could still buy. And so that was a real challenging part of the job. But I had good secretaries, and they helped me
Oh,
go through that,
Thank goodness
keep
for
up with that.
secretary.
That's right.
Did they go out and check with you?
No, I had to go out myself. That's inside. We had a busy place. No one really knew all the things that we did in our music program, how many people were involved, and to keep up with all the instruments. But I know other areas also had, except band and athletics probably were the two biggest. areas that have budget. With athletics is more so than me as far as budget goes, and they were able to get more money usually than the band or choir orchestra.
Well, that makes me think of another question I've got written in here somewhere. I know I've had people tell me that football coaches is not the safest job in the world. If you don't have a winning team, you better start looking somewhere to school.
Yeah.
Is it the same way with bands?
Well,
Band directors,
band directors, the nice thing about band directors is the fact that they work together as a team more so than most other areas, I feel like. Like the head director of each school in, say, Irving High, they supervise in a way their directors all the way down to junior high. And they go out and visit also. Our teams work together, back and forth from junior high to high school. They allow that. So if somebody's not doing very well in junior high and they've not been having very good ratings, the head director and I will talk and we'll maybe say, you might want to try somewhere else, next year. And so, but they pretty well know when it's time to go, you might say.
Okay, time to move on.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
You didn't really fire them.
Not really far. They wanted to go on, and we tried to be as nice as possible, to all people. But yeah, it didn't look quite like football. Not in football, you're out there on the stage. You might say every Friday night, and if you don't have a fair season, you'll probably be going in a year or
Well,
so.
you either win or lose.
Yeah, right, right, and that is true. Yeah. Okay.
Did you judge any of the solo ensemble contests?
Yes, I did judge a lot of district-wide and solo ensemble. I judged that. I judged also district bands, district choirs. That had preparation for contests. Then I judged UIL. That's where you actually gave a rating, and your 3 judges rating a concert, say, or sight reading, and you gave them a rating, and they had they made it 1, 2, or 3, 4, or 5. Mm-hmm. You're talking about, I see also Danny Hart down here.
Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned earlier, he and I were good friends.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the time period that I moved from band to choir, Danny Hart was very helpful, very influential to me.
We knew him in
we
college.
knew him in college, But I would, when I was in McKinney, I was doing band primarily, but I was doing choir too. And so Danny and I sang in the Dallas Male Chorus together, and we'd get together at night after our rehearsals, and I'd have coffee with him, and I'd write down things he said about techniques for warm-ups or techniques for preparations for sight reading. So I just learned a lot from him. And I came to Irving. We, of course, continued to work together.
I remember me, Mom, Memo Moo.
Well,
Yeah. Danny was Woody's accompanist.
Yeah, in college.
In college.
When you played trumpet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a piano major.
Right.
Piano music major. And so all the pianists there, they had to accompany, the other instrumentalist when they did solos and things like that. So,
Yeah, we worked. He was, he had some wonderful choirs.
Yeah.
I go and listen to his choirs and try to, you might say, emulate the sound he got. He got a wonderful tone quality out of his choirs.
Yeah,
You were in it, know. And he expected a lot from you.
just a little aside here.
Yeah.
When we were having our first child, David.
Yeah.
Barbara was the nurse of my obstetrician, and we were good friends with Danny and Barbara anyway. And I started in labor, and we called Barbara and Danny. We were afraid we were going to run out of gas going to the hospital. We were poor kids in college, we didn't have any money. So they followed us to the hospital that morning to make sure we made it.
And Danny stayed with me all morning, all day, actually.
Yeah, we go way back with.
But anyway, he did. He was kind of a quiet person,
Yeah.
But as far as he get into a choir room, with him and watch him work, he was a master.
Oh yeah.
He was fantastic.
But he did. He helped me a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because years later, I realized that.
Yeah,
No.
I know you don't realize when you just with him at the time. No,
You just take it for granted. That's just the way it is when
Yeah.
you're with someone like
Well,
that.
I was listening to the choir one day in the car, and I thought, this is college. This is professional sounding, you know?
I know he was, yeah, and he, Danny didn't ever show this, but he cared a lot for his students. He did. He didn't tell you all that, I'm sure, but he wanted y'all to be the best. He wanted you to walk on that stage and be the best. He was.
Well, he was a good director.
He was. It's great.
Okay. What is the closest you ever came to getting fired?
Oh,
Oh, well, there's several things I guess that happened. No, the superintendent, Dr. Townley, I used to do, of course, we had baccalaureate every year, very important event because you had a lot of people there. And so I would pick out pieces, from Sea to Shining. A lot of the pieces you sing with the silver tones. From Sea to Shining Sea, patriotic songs, And Battle Hymn of the Republic was his favorite song, I might say. And I learned that later on. But anyway, one time, after many, many years of doing this, I decided to change a song just for variety. And so I picked out another patriotic piece, which is very nice. And we did that for the baccalaureate. And the next Monday morning, I had a note in my box that said, Dr. Townley wants to see you immediately. I said, wow, what does that mean? And so I went in, and he said, close the door. And said, sit down. And Mr. Schober, at baccalaureate, I noticed, I said, uh-oh, baccalaureate. What happened there? I noticed you changed songs. And no, you don't change songs, especially the piece, the Battle Hymn of the Republic. That's a piece that should be sung every year. And as long as you're here and I'm here, we're going to do the baccalaureate. We're going to have this. Is that clear? I said,
no, I
"Yes,
don't
sir."
think he would have fired him over that,
I said, "Is
but he did want to make sure that he understood.
you understand that? Yes, sir, I do. We're going to have the Battle Hymn every year. In fact, I led that song at his funeral. In fact, he told me earlier, before he passed away, he said, now, if I ever, when I pass away, when I croak, he said, I want to make sure you do the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Wow.
Well, we certainly will. And for my service also. That was one thing that we did. But that's one thing. Now, I know there are probably other things I can think of right now.
Well, you and Dr. Townley were really good friends.
We were,
so I don't think
actually.
he would have fired him.
No. In fact, he protected me actually many times.
Yeah.
Principals, sometimes I want to try something, do something, they'd say no, and I'd go to him. I wasn't trying to go around their back, but I got support from him, to do certain things that might help. And so they did. But that did. I was very blessed to have him, and
That's a good
great man to work with.
It's a good working relationship.
He came
Yes.
down later on. We got even more friendly together, you might say, and friends. He and his wife, because he came to our church, began visiting, and then joined our church. Yeah, joined Oakview. Yes,
Okay.
he did.
All right.
Yeah. I was blessed to have him. We came in '68, and that time period, I had a call from the principal of MacArthur, Paul Burke, and he said he attended Kirkwood Methodist, and they were out of director. Would I be available to take over for a time period? I said, I'll certainly try it, yes. So we moved to Kirkwood Methodist, and I directed the classic or church choir and the youth choir, and was able to have a very, very nice choir and youth choir. We had some really outstanding students in the youth choir.
Great youth choir.
And we were there 6 years, and then another friend of mine, director Barry Kraft, was at Oakview Baptist. Well, no, wait. We left Kirkwood and went to Plymouth Park Baptist.
Yeah.
We were there then for about 6 years, and so we just sang in the choir with Neil Davidson. I'd heard his choirs before and was so admired them as church choirs, and Sandra Davidson on piano, and so we were there for them.
And their boys were the same age as our kids.
He enjoyed his he enjoyed directing, I think,
Great man, just passed away recently.
Yes, he did.
But we were there, and then Barry Kraft called me, another teacher I'd had, good singer, wonderful director, and he had said, I'm leaving Oakview, and they're needing somebody. Won't you come down and visit with Wallace Philpott, pastor? So I did, and so I decided to, they asked me if, to come down and direct there.
What year was that?
Good question. 19,
It
not
was
19.
70,
All right, 70, 80,
8.
87 we went down there.
So you were doing your job and
And I was still,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was still doing director of fine arts work. And so we were there, and then I went down to Oakview and did church choir there and worked with the school district still.
how many years was that?
Until 2000.
2000.
Okay.
So I was at Oakview for over 25
20
years.
more years.
20 years, yeah. So I was blessed again. God's blessed us to be able to serve Him.
Who took over for you after you quit being a
Fine arts director,
Yeah.
Buzzy Green was his name.
Okay.
Buzzy Green. They all called us Woody and Buzzy. Anyway, yeah, he was there.
Now, when did you stop being choir director at Oakview Baptist Church?
When did I stop?
Yeah.
Let's
Not
see.
until after Wallace retired. Woody wouldn't let him. Wallace wouldn't let him resign until after he had
Yeah, right.
retired. Yeah.
1998 or somewhere in there, I believe.
So-
I have to look that up and check
Oh,
that
it was
out.
after that. It was after in 2000.
Oh, that's right. We were still.
Because you retired from school first,
Yeah, I retired from school in 2000.
and then retired from
Kept
the
doing
church.
church choir all the way through 2004
About 2002 or 3.
or 5, somewhere in there,
Yeah.
that time period. Early 2000s, yeah. And I did, after that time period, I did do mentoring for 10 years for new teachers. So I quit the schools in 2000. In 2001, the district asked me to be a mentor. And so I did that for 10 years.
Well, I've never heard this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And mentoring was a great job too. I enjoyed working with new teachers and helping them.
First year teachers.
They were in the classroom, but I go by once a week and just see how they're doing and need any help or anything. They had that program, then they did away with it. I don't know why. Because it really did help out new teachers.
It really
Budget.
did.
Budget.
True.
Well,
That's the
could
bottom
be.
line. That's true.
Could be,
It
but-
did help the district in a way
Yeah.
to keep maintained teachers because they were more successful.
When did you start with the Silvertones?
Silvertones. Well, Silvertones it began in 1985, but I did pick up. They asked me one time to help out for about, I guess, 6 weeks, and then I left them, and they get somebody else direct them. And then in 2001, they called me again about coming over and directing them. So I started with them around 2001.
And you kept that up until 2022.
22, right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. This last year.
What kind of music did you prefer to listen to when you were growing up?
Oh, I liked the rock and roll and all that, I liked that time period was Elvis, that time, in that early times. And I had a small band in high school, which we played popular music, and it wasn't rock and roll, it's pop music, And the songs they're now in the songbook of life, you might say. They're great songs written back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, that time period. But I listened to that, and I guess you might say I listened to country music. We had a singer in Waco, his name was, I'll get in a minute anyway. Anyway, he had a band, a Western band, and I listened to him. And I did like country music too, and I liked pop music, so I liked a variety, really. Church music, I like to go sing the hymns, the great church music, yeah. So,
How do you feel about rap?
rap, I can't understand them. Can't really understand the words they're saying.
How about country western?
Yeah, we like country music. I like,
Classic country western.
classic country, yeah.
Yeah.
When did you retire, Mrs. Schober?
We retired at the same time.
Same time? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you plan on traveling or something? Well,
Yeah, he had, well, right after that, you joined the Singing Men.
When I retired from schools, I joined the Singing Men, right?
And there was at least like every other year or
Yeah,
something.
we go.
They didn't have a trip every single year, but a lot of trips. We went to China was our first trip that we went
oh,
with
okay.
them, and that was fantastic. I really am so thankful we were able to go at that time, because we probably wouldn't have never gone on our own, and especially not now. This is not a good time to travel over there, but our trip was just wonderful.
And then you went.
We climbed the Great Wall, and we we did all kinds of things. I mean, we saw so many of the special things of China, Beijing, in that area. Yeah.
We were there on a mission trip, basically, to sing in churches and to introduce Jesus to them through the songs and people there to come to know Jesus.
It was amazing.
They let you do that?
The churches
Well, you
were.
know, that's
we
what's
couldn't.
unusual.
We couldn't go out on the street and hand out stuff,
Oh, good.
but
Well,
we could go in the church and sing.
The
That was
Chinese
okay.
council there allowed us to do this with a person that was with us all the time from their
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
their country.
Yeah.
So someone was there with us, you might
He
say.
was
monitoring.
with us.
But they didn't mind us singing the church songs. In fact, they let some churches still in
Oh,
China.
they had some
You know, yeah.
gorgeous Christian churches,
That it's
church
just-
choirs that we heard.
Now they did away with Christian music. They did Christianity, you might say, but the Christians who had to leave and stop preaching, they were hired as English teachers, you might say, to be there because they wanted their country people to learn English, also, and so they did stay on and preach. It's called the underground church they have there, now, and people can.
But
They have
there were
churches
lots-
that meet in homes,
Lots of people came to the
So it's,
churches to hear the choir sing.
It's a diverse feeling. Of
I don't
where
know
they
if
are.
you can do it now or not. You might not be able
Yeah,
to.
just according to where you are and who's in charge
Yeah.
of the country or that city, and they allow you.
But that was an eye opener for you all.
Yeah.
Oh, it really was.
But we were able to go to Europe and of course, the last 10 years to Ukraine.
Something just came up. Were you considered part of the administration or a teacher?
I was part of the administration.
Okay. So your pay was higher than
Yeah.
a teacher's.
Right.
Okay. So when you two retired, you were doing okay financially.
Financially, or you might say mid-income people, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We've been
We've,
careful.
Okay, well, good.
Savings and all that kind of stuff,
They're looking at maybe increasing teachers' salaries, which we hope that'll happen. They've not been, since we retired, we've not had any kind of increase at all. We did get one bonus, you might call it 2 bonuses.
23 years,
Yeah.
a raise.
We hope that'll happen someday, for teachers will be, you might say, receive what they should receive.
Yeah.
But when you were teaching, when you were a choir director, you got paid for that too?
Yes, church
Okay.
choir.
Yes.
mhm.
Okay. Do you think music is a calling?
I would say so, yes, I think so. You would have to have, and I think to be an educator too, you'd have a calling there too. Because you're not going in for the money, that's for sure. And I think you're going in because you have a love for the subject that you're in, whatever it might be,
It's a serving. Calling.
You're part of music because you want to, you have a feeling in your own heart of joy. And I think that God also leads people and us in our decisions.
Well, it's kind of a combination. You have music and teaching that are all thought together. And that you just can't beat the combination of those.
When I had to interview with people, for example, I would always say, I think you have to love students and love the subject,
Yeah.
You got to have both a love for both of them, I think. If you don't care about the kids, you shouldn't be in the classroom, I don't think. I think you had to be a joy there and a joy also in your subject you're doing, what you're doing. like what you're doing right now, which you enjoy doing, you love doing, passion for it, getting to know people this way.
Your teachers. What kind of temperament would you recommend in the field of public education?
The kind of field.
What kind of personality? You
Well, I think personality-wise, you again, like I've already touched on.
Patience.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta have a passion inside you that you know you enjoy. You enjoy music. You enjoy wanting to be a part of it. You want to provide people the joy with it also by hearing it maybe. But in those who are part of it, who take part in choirs and bands, you know.
I think you have to love kids too.
That's the most important thing. I love
Now,
kids and teaching. Yeah.
Some of us love a certain age kid.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I wouldn't want to teach junior high. No, for me, fourth grade is just tops, can't be beat. 9 and 10-year-olds, perfect age, perfect.
After that, they start changing.
They're old enough to be independent and can do a lot of things, but yet they haven't reached the age where they don't like the adults. At least when I was still teaching, I could always get a hug from them at the front door.
Oh, wow.
Most of them.
Oh, I never did that.
Most of them. Not all the boys, but they haven't gotten out of it yet. So
No, she's had so many former students of hers, you know, who've written her cards or written her things, how much they enjoy being in her
I
class.
still keep up with them. I see them on
They still
Facebook a lot.
have a love for her, you know.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot.
think
Good
Teachers.
memories.
Yeah.
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 I hear the teachers meeting kids like 40 years later.
Oh yeah,
I
right.
remember.
Right. Teachers and certain things.
I
you
think
know.
we have been blessed in that we both enjoy teaching and we both enjoy music. I don't think I would like to be married to somebody that didn't like music.
No.
I mean, I grew up with music as a part of my life, and that would not have
Yeah,
been
I know.
fun. But
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
wondering
we
about
think
that, you know.
Yeah.
I wondered about that because I've always seen Mr. Schober, but not you in the music. I know you're in choir, you know, but I never saw you playing the piano. I didn't know you played piano, you
Yeah.
know. And then I used to wonder. Well, I wonder if she likes going to these concerts all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and I wonder if she liked going to the band, every band.
Yeah. Well,
Marching.
I know that.
absolutely, yeah.
Well, good.
I know we go places together, and sometimes I'll be in meetings or whatever when the husband will not bring the wives. You know, I don't know whether they just don't want to come with the husband or what. You know, but that's one thing we're able to do and enjoy.
Yeah.
She likes to be a part of what I do.
Well, that's good.
We're thankful for
Yeah.
that. We thank the Lord for that.
Yes.
What would you tell any young person who is considering making music their livelihood? And what do you think they ought to do in order to prepare for this?
Oh my. I would think first of all you want to prepare yourself through some field of music that you enjoy. It be band or choir or orchestra or whatever the field might be, or art or drama. And what you have within your heart that you want to express. And that I think the vehicle of that is either one of those areas. And then go to a school or be under people who also love this field and also are good at maybe helping you train and develop your talents and your abilities. And then go forth with that and pursue studying and preparing yourself for it. And then just continuing to grow in this field in music or whatever it might be, and enjoy it and share this joy with others, and share this joy always.
Stay
In some
involved.
ways, to stay involved, right. And I think follow God's will, and if He asks for you for His talents, and use your talents and abilities to glorify Him also. And
Okay.
that's
All
about
right.
it.
Very good.